All right. Thanks, man, for being here. We got Ryan Johnston. Well, I'm so happy to have you, and it's good to see you. It's been years, I think, since we saw each other.
Yeah, yeah, in person, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think
Way
at
before
the
COVID even.
for sure. I think it was pre-COVID. We're
Yeah.
saying that's a new nomenclature. It's like a new phrase. Yeah, pre-COVID back in the day.
It is.
Uh, but for those that are watching this that don't know you, can you just give yourself a little intro and let us know who you are and what you're doing?
Well, my name's Ryan Johnston, and I guess longtime friend of Joe's and fellow Salem musician. Um, Born and raised Salem mostly, and I lived in Portland during my 20s and did a short stint as a musician there, and ever since then, kind of moved back to Salem, had a family, did some school, did some work, and still getting around and playing with some local guys down at the local places and jam nights and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. Well, again, it's really good to see you. It's good to have you on. I don't know if you've seen any other podcasts, but I've been doing this for like a year now, and I've had gone through my list of like my phone, like, oh my God, I know so many musicians. Let's
Yeah.
just start going down the list. And COVID was really the thing that kind of led to this coming about is like I'm not doing gigs anymore. We're not doing anything collectively in the scene or anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's just do this. This is still good.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
it's had to fill the void, especially early on. People didn't quite know what to do. Now Zoom's just a second, it's a household name now.
sure.
Before it was mostly a business type use thing.
Yeah, like all the streaming stuff was so new to me before I started, doing any podcasts. And I was like, okay, I'm doing Facebook live stream a little bit because it's the most user friendly.
Yeah.
But then even that was not as user friendly as you would think it would be, and they change their stuff all the time. So
Right. Yeah.
I'm tempting this Zoom thing, and it's fun to have a Zoom meeting and not do work and like not be out on and do like day job stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah, the happy hours, filled those moments, especially
exactly.
during the original lockdown and stuff like that. So yeah, no, Facebook has been great as far as like as quickly as they got the technology out there, and then Zoom pretty much is trying to match it, at the same speed.
Sure.
And here we are 18 months to 2 years later, and it's been getting me by. There's
Yeah.
um there's musicians I've discovered. I've got to see old friends performing from their, humble abodes or whatever, or wherever they chose to spring up, and even if it was empty venues, I paid for some shows and watched some, I watched some stars, during the whole thing playing empty venues,
Oh wow.
just to kind of keep like the venues alive and people interested and people still, paying for tickets.
Wow.
Um, and I watched this one performer, and he and his band, and they were just touring around empty venues, and they would put screens up, and then they would do the Zoom meeting. So
Okay.
they would have either projected on the wall. Some venues had projection systems, and they'd like broadcast everyone dancing, listening to them perform live, and so there was still
That's
that kind
awesome.
of like back and forth, energy thing going on. So
Yeah, that's
we got
cool.
by, I mean, we did what we had to do. So it was interesting. It's been an interesting time.
Well, yeah, and I think it's kind of cool because it's kind of paved a little room for some innovators too in a new, the music industry has never really looked like this before, and it kind of has a little bit, but not really, like there was some online streaming stuff happening pre-COVID, but now, I mean, it's a new thing. I mean,
Right.
it's a new animal.
Feels like the early internet a little bit, where
Yeah,
it's like, the power is back in the hands of those that, are the creators. And, everyone seeps in a little bit, and, we still need help from the other side too. So it's like, it's a
certainly.
symbiotic relationship, back and forth
But
always.
I just think that's what's so cool. Like you said, it takes you back to like to the olden times to like, that's when history is made and like these great albums were made. And like you said,
Yeah.
we're kind of in that wild, wild west, not wild, wild west. That's a Will Smith movie, but you know what I mean? Like,
Long too.
yeah, Yeah, it's a great song. I think the song's probably better than
Hooky.
the movie.
Hooks, man. Give me that one hook.
Yeah,
Shoot.
dude. But yeah, dude, I've just been doing this just to keep busy. Shows are kind of coming back, they're trickling back. Um, but I still feel that they're, obviously we're all feeling that they're not what they were. There's that catchphrase again, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
What do
Right.
you think about how like the scene has changed? Like I remember, you and I would do gigs just like all the time, like every chance we could get, and then
Right.
slowly the shutdown started opening back up again, but it's still there's always like a new variant coming out
Right.
every week, and we're like,
I'm
okay.
seeing it. I'm seeing it change in, like, people's philosophies, and it seems um it's tough to kind of gauge right now, with the new things every day. But towards the end of the summer, I've been able to go see live shows, like true live shows. I
Right.
got a chance to take my kid to his first real live outdoor show. Like we've been able to see, like, local Saturday market guys, and, like, some live music, but not the kind that where you go to it, you can feel that,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so much stimulation coming from the sound, and then you get to see the band and the lights. It's the whole show. It's live
Mhm.
music. It's what makes live music. It's the
Right.
stuff that, like, gets me, so
It's the
always
whole
has.
it's like the kick drum through the subs, and like you can just, like you said, you can feel it.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
there's
you feel it.
people, a bunch of people that you're in a club with, in the present moment that you don't even know, but you're all there together, and you're getting this, like, that's what music is about. Like you said, like
Mhm.
that's really what. And I think in this streaming thing, people are realizing, there's this new frontier coming, but you also have to remember like the basics of what it means to be a performer and to be a listener, and like an active listener,
Yeah.
because it brings back that finite aspect of the live music performance, and like, oh my God, it's kind of coveted now. Like people are like looking for live music again,
Yeah.
and there
Yeah.
was a lot of, I feel like it was a little oversaturated, which maybe not the right word before, but it was a little cutthroat to where like everybody's like, come see my band. And now there's like hardly any bands, or at least half the bands, and those ones are doing barely any shows, or at least not what they used to. And I know that's a generalization. There's lots of bands that are doing lots of stuff now, but
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like in the bigger scale of things, it kind of gives you that, God dang, that was great when we had live shows all the time, kind of the,
Well, we kind of took it for granted, I think,
yep,
to a
yeah,
certain extent too. I mean, I still think we take live musicians, especially not those that are selling out, huge venues and stuff, totally underappreciated and under supported, really, I think, to a certain extent. I mean, how long has this trade been around,
right. How
and here we
prominent
are.
is it in every aspect of life?
And here we are, so just, separated, and there's not, like, there's places, but if you're an established recorded or copyrighted artist, maybe you might get by with, some decent royalties or something on. But there's really, not a ton of resources, I don't think, for these guys, and to see the venues go through it too,
Mm-hmm.
where they kind of feel the pinch, and everyone felt it everywhere during this whole thing. And some of it made it through, and some of them didn't, and moving forward, I think it's that those that are just really love it, the venues that take care of the musicians, and those relationships need to be, you know what's that, taken care of, and built,
Agreed. Yeah.
and they, if they're making a lot of money, the musicians should be making a lot of money, not like, at our level, or um like, sort of fighting over scraps.
I
Like, there's a
totally
bigger piece of this pie out there,
I
and
totally agree.
there are local places, and there are,
You cut out. You're cutting out on me, bruh. Uh, you're cutting out. Can you hear me? I lost you right when you started that. There we go.
am I back?
Yep, you're back.
That's so weird. It, like, just decided to stop.
It's like, as soon as I have something to say, click.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't catch any of what you just said. Would you mind?
I think I was getting at the point of,
Sorry.
no, I don't remember. I think it's something about the venues and the musicians, and that there are resources. There are unions. There's the Portland Music Musicians Union, I think. And we get by. But
Sure.
I've always kind of been shocked that, like, there was always entertainment. And it's always been like, even in the castles and courtyards and things like that, like there's always music and there's always been entertainment. It's always, I felt, been very undervalued. So
Sure.
yeah. But
I
moving forward, some made it through, some didn't, and I think we're getting back to it. And that you know it was underappreciated, undervalued, and a little bit taken for granted. And
Sure.
moving forward, I hope that there's a little bit more give. I mean, I've been trying to donate as much as I can too, to keep the guys that I know that are actually doing it for a living.
Sure.
I've got my side gig and my day job.
Sure.
um and it's fun to go out and jam still, and play with the guys on the weekend and things like that. But the guys that are doing it 5 or more days a week, like, that was a tough 18 months, man. i'm
Yeah.
i'm i'm shocked. And
Yeah.
my best to everyone. And I just encourage everyone to do as much as they can for live music, and their favorite musician they might know, or local
Certainly.
friend. I mean, we wouldn't
Absolutely.
be anywhere if we didn't have our friends and our family and our
Exactly.
fans. It's 3 F's.
Yeah. Usually when I get 3 F's, it's not a good thing, but that one.
It's usually not. No, it never was. But that's your tribe, right?
Yeah, dude. And that's what's so cool about music. I was telling my kids this, it's like you're part of this club, that only certain people are in,
Hmm.
and it's just like anything, like, if you're a biker or a mechanic or you snowboard or whatever, you're like in this little group, and it's fun to be in that. And then you meet so many new people. You and I met because we were musicians, and
Yeah.
you cultivate relationships, and you pass it down to your kids. I know your son is probably into music. My kids are into music. Speaking of which, how old's your boy now? Like
He's 11.
15? Oh, I was gonna say mine's
Yeah,
11
he's
too.
11. Yeah, he's playing trumpet, and
Awesome.
he's pretty darn good.
Heck yeah.
I could never play those wind instruments, and he's got something. But he's also got 3 guitars, and he plays a little bit of guitar and some trumpet. And yeah, all around, he kind of digs music. So
That's
he's still
awesome.
kind of searching for his thing, I think.
That's awesome. Well, that's the thing about music, is sometimes you're always searching.
Uh,
And well, but that's not the point, is to end up in a spot. That's the journey. Like, that's not to
yeah.
get automatically philosophical, but yeah.
That was the most daunting thing. It was a buddy and me started playing guitar. We were late bloomers, so I was probably 17 or 18 years old, and we go into a music store, local music stores in the Reed Opera House at the time, in the basement. And I forget the name, but there's this. We walked in, we're like, hey, let's look at the guitars. And the guy was like, oh, you're learning how to play guitar, huh? And it was kind of seasoned musician, not old by any means, probably our age now.
so
Um,
so old.
so old,
I'm
yeah, right,
old.
at the time, yeah, definitely old. And you're like, and he's like, he just kind of looked at us, couldn't get into that note. He's like, it's a long journey. And we're just kind of like, that's just stuck with us, and it's still stuck with me. What I mean? I'm still thinking about that
Yeah, dude.
guy.
It's like Ben Stiller at the Pick of Destiny, where he's you guys haven't heard about the Pick of Destiny.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
It's a long journey. It's been a life journey. It's been fun. It's been hard at times, and
yeah.
I wish I did more of it.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is I see that you're still doing it, and you're still, you invited me to that Triangle Jam session and stuff, and I'm
See some guys from 10 years ago when we used to do it still.
really,
Yeah.
wow.
There's still a few of them,
I
coming
gotta get out
around.
there.
Yeah.
I have a real problem these days of spreading myself really, really, really thin. So
That's always kind of been
yeah.
your thing, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's how I operate, man. But the cool thing, I've got 3 kids now. So I had
Yeah.
another.
Right.
I got it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 3 years ago, which seems like just yesterday, but it also seems like a lifetime. Got
3.
my
This is your third time doing 3. You got this.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I'm done. We're done with the kids after that. But still doing the band. I had a little bit of changeover
Right.
as far as the members go with the band.
Yeah.
So the Folly's still doing its thing. We've got a couple gigs coming up. We're writing some new tunes, and it's so satisfying to be like in a group of guys and just writing again
Hmm.
and just doing the music again.
Yeah.
So that's super fun because a lot of that, you know, especially when you and I were hanging out, there wasn't a lot of room for me to write anything because we were gigging all the time. We had that monthly gig, and
Yeah, we didn't know what was ahead, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
we weren't
I
just
mean,
like enjoy this because this is about to not be anymore. But
yeah.
that's kind of life. And then I'm doing a little bit of this podcasting thing, once
Mhm.
a week or so, just connecting with musicians, and I'm also kind of helping out putting shows together again, and then doing a little work with this charity in Salem called the Salem Drop.
Mhm.
So I've been really busy, but
Yeah, that
it's
sounds
like,
busy.
yeah. And then my day job.
All of my off time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But
But
like you said, that's kind of my style. That's kind of how I operate. Like I just I have
yeah,
to.
it's great to see the podcast because you asked. And yeah, I had watched one previously. And then, seeing you kind of get it going during the whole lockdown.
I felt like I was a late bloomer as far as the lockdown goes, like in starting up the podcast. But I'm like, really, now I've been doing it a year.
Yeah.
So I was really only like what 8 months or so into the full on lockdown, and I was just getting, you know, being as a person that needs to keep busy in a lockdown and a musical sense, I was like, oh my God, I cannot not do all this stuff anymore because I'm used to doing gigs and
Yeah.
practices, and like
Yeah.
I
What I do
just,
with myself.
dude, it was bad. I'm like, I'm getting depressed. I'm getting whatever, like
Yeah.
I just had to do something. And it just kind of like was scrolling through my phone. I'm like, I miss talking to all these musicians. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm just going to start talking to them all again for no reason, but to just talk to them. And it worked out. It's been fun, man.
Yeah.
It's been like a new adventure, a new learning curve, obviously, because I'm not technical. So just
That
like
keeps
getting
it fresh.
yeah, dude, keeping the microphones like whatever and the lighting, and it's just like, wow, it's a lot. But again, I wouldn't change it for the world, man. And so in that sense, I guess there is that silver lining with the lockdown and COVID and stuff. You kind of have to look for that type of thing, right? Kind of have to look for the silver lining.
Gotta look for the silver lining and plan, plan for the future, for when what we're gonna do next. That's the real key here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So what
speaking
are
of,
we gonna do next? More music,
yeah, no shit.
right?
Live shows. And that kind
Live
of
shows.
perfect segue. Let's talk about your new band. You got a new band, new group of dudes?
Yeah. Well, we're not so much new, really. So we
New to me, I guess.
well, yeah, right. We met few years ago now. At this point, I hell, we've been playing together for more than two.
Wow.
Um, we were the ones that were probably getting together as often as we could during lockdown, during the
Mhm.
18 months, and we tried the whole Zoom thing and like, recording across the internet kind of thing, and it just never really beat the real deal of three or four, people in a room making music together. And so, we did a lot of the as soon as the weather got nice, it was kind of outdoors, sitting across you know, the um the backyard patio together, playing
Yeah.
music, guy on the cajon, kind of a thing. But they're just some friends of mine that I met at jam night.
Hell yeah. Shout out to
And
Jam Night.
shout out to jam night, man. I'm probably I'm probably just as there as often as the guy that hosts. You know what I mean? Um, and they're a great group of guys, and we've been playing together for a while, and it kind of just started from jam night, where it's like, run through some like Beatles tunes, or some Motown tunes, or some blues stuff, and just kind of like, spread from there. And
So
so
what
we're
do you,
called Porch
yeah.
Valley,
Okay, yeah.
and we've played twice for Salem Make Music Day the last 2 years, and that was fun. But other than that, that's it. Like, we haven't played out live, kind of gauging things still,
Sure.
but working towards that. That'd be fun.
What's the lineup, and like what instruments are we talking about
So
here?
I'm playing. So right now, we have my buddy Rudy on drums, bass, my buddy John on bass, and then me on electric guitar and vocals.
Sweet.
and that's kind of our
Three-piece.
incantation right now. Yeah, yeah. So it's been fun learning how to be a three-piece. It's a new territory for me. Electric guitar too.
Yeah.
Electric
Oh,
guitar
just
three-piece.
straight, like just straight electric, huh?
Yeah, for the most part.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
new.
so yeah, new
That's
bag of
awesome.
tricks and fun things like that. Songs
That's
we
awesome.
all love and people like to dance to. So we got to kind of work on booking some gigs, I think.
Shit, man. Next time I need a band, I'll hit you up. I've been trying to put shows
I think that's
together.
how I ended up here.
I think so. Well,
As
then
I
that's
hit you up and I was like,
well. What do
"Oh,
you
Joe
know?
Kyle's doing booking now too." I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
"Shit,
yeah, man. I've
shoot,"
got a couple of venues that I'm trying to work in booking again, and it's a horrible time to start trying to book stuff, from scratch because of
especially right now. Yeah.
the breakdown. The breakdown. Going to the bridge. No, anyway, well, the lockdown. So it's been slow, and I've had one bigger show that we did at Apogee, the venue here in town. We had some
Yeah.
couple of great bands, Pepperbox, um, and all the other Apogee, Pepperbox, Songs for Alice, my band, The Folly, the Grenades, and a lot of other awesome, cool stuff. But trying to promote and put together shows right now is a bit of a like
Yeah.
people are like looking at you funny, like you're really trying to put together a show right now. Like we had
Yeah.
a good turnout and it was a success and everything, but I'm just kind of maybe doing like a more quarterly thing, but spring's right around the corner, so I'll probably be doing
Spring
more.
is, yep. Warm weather's around the corner.
And that new amphitheater at the waterfront is looking pretty sweet. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen that, but just in time for spring, maybe I can finagle my way in there on a weekend or something. And
Knocking on the city's door.
yeah, well, it's all about who you know, I guess. It's like,
Oh
hey,
yeah, yeah.
or how
You
much
never know.
money, how
Next
much
thing you know,
money.
you'll be into producing shows, down at the waterfront.
Yeah, man, I could. That'd be fun. I've done that a couple times. I don't know if you remember back in the day when I've
Been a
done
while,
like
yeah.
it's, but yeah, 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, crap. But I did, some of the bigger shows, but it was just like a lot of work, and especially if you're by yourself putting it together. So I'm like sticking to like the smaller 50 to 100 people show for right now. Just getting a few of those
Oh
back
heck yeah.
under the belt. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
got to get back in the ring again before I go for the title shots or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and got to stay fit. It's a practiced skill too to promote and book shows like that. And it's like, man, there's some cobwebs there.
Oh heck, gosh, yeah. You don't see me out there doing it. I mean, you don't see me out there. That's why I was calling you.
but again, there's one of those things that I've found myself to be good at. I'm like, okay, I'm good at like spinning 5 plates at a time, and I think it needs to be done
Yeah.
by someone that's passionate for the music. And I'm nothing but if I'm anything, I'm passionate about the music. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I've got the right mindset. A lot of learning still to do, but it's a process. It's a journey.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, so far it's going well. I've like I said, I've seen the show and so
Hell
far so
yeah.
good, huh?
Hell yeah. It's been fun, man. It's just like doing a gig, only you don't have to move all your gear. You can
That's
still
right. There you go.
just stay here.
Don't have far to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. No travel time.
Slippers on and stuff. Because I was like, the last couple of years doing gigs, man, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. I'm too lazy. But you do,
Yep.
and you're glad you went. But
Yep.
sometimes it's like after work, and you're like,
Yep. Game face.
Yeah,
Game
right.
time. Late night.
Yeah, those late nights, man. I was just thinking like, oh, 7 o'clock, I'm tired. Oh,
Exactly.
it's dark.
That's it. 10 years later too.
I know, right? But hey, yeah, let's get a show together, man. If you guys are up and at 'em as far as shows goes, we'll get you on
Yeah.
like a Folly bill, if nothing else, and then the next Joe Kyle thing I'm putting together, that'd be cool to have you
Yeah.
guys on.
Joe Kyle, Ryan Johnston.
Oh
Been
yeah,
a while.
I know, man. We should do it. We should jam it up. I got it. It's on Wednesdays now, right?
Wednesday night. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still going out there on Wednesdays.
Well, I wonder because the band practices on Wednesdays, but maybe I can get everybody to be like, "Come on, you guys, let's just go to the Triangle,
God.
have a beer, and just
It'd be
jump
great
in."
to see all those
It'd
guys.
be fun, man. I'll try to convince them. We got a couple shows, and there's always that pressure with new band. You're like, "Go, shows coming up. We got to practice."
Oh yeah, it's just game time. Boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom. We
exactly.
only have 6 shows. five
Yeah.
or 5 rehearsals,
Yeah,
4 rehearsals.
exactly. Oh, I can't be there. Okay, 3
Right. Yeah.
rehearsals.
3 Monday night.
Yeah. No practice before the show. That's okay. I've done those before too. Well, man, besides doing some shows, I've got you here. I don't want to have any downtime, but maybe we could do this again and get you back on the show again and
Yeah.
do some gigs and whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is easy. This is fun.
it's pretty fun, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for people to come on the show, and we could even have more than one person, as a guest. So if you guys wanted to come on with the band or whatever, or if you wanted to
Yeah.
put
I
something
mean,
weird to get like, so here's the thing is if you want into like putting something together, we could do like a special show, like top 10 like Salem artists or something cheesy like that, or like top 10 recording things or something to where we could like panel people and like have a debate or something. Even I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas, but
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Dinner and a movie night.
There you go. There you go.
Dinner and an album. Wine
Yeah,
and an album.
that's
Whiskey
actually that's not a bad idea.
and a record.
Yeah, I
I
don't
gotta
have a
come up with
record
something
player.
catchy. I got one.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so what have you been listening to? What's new?
Oh my gosh, I have gotten really back into kind of that, like, jam rock scene, blues and Grateful Dead and bluegrass, and little country swing type shit, and yeah, so I got a lot of new records been listening to kind of along the lines of that. Allman Brothers. Um Newer guys, really into Billy Strings lately.
Okay.
Saw him live out at Edgefield in
I saw
Portland.
Edgefield, yeah.
And other guys, some of the newer cats, Lord Huron, I like that guy. And his band and his music, they're good. um yeah, it's tough to keep up with all the new content out there.
There's a
you know
lot.
mostly mostly it's just like, TikTok, catchy tunes that are just like
Sure.
little 30-second clips of songs that I'm like start to recognize from the radio, and I'm like, oh, that's on that TikTok.
That's a whole nother podcast right there about TikTok and music and stuff. I feel like it's in a way it's kind of maybe a smear, but there's some
I don't
people
know. There's been some,
there's
I
some
mean,
people using it for good. But
there's so much content is my problem for me specifically. Like, I love it because there's a guy that's teaching guitar, there's a guy that's
sure.
teaching producing, there's a guy's like how to get better mixes,
Right.
how to master your records, and then there's just the nonsense stuff too, which is fun to laugh at.
Like, oh my god, I've been here for an hour and I was just
Yeah,
trying
right, yeah, but it's mixed in with the good stuff, so I'm learning.
That's awesome. You're like, yeah, you just got to make sure you yeah, my
Mix
son.
some of the good with the bad, all in moderation.
Right. That's with everything, man. Hey, bro, super fun chilling with
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
talking with you. We need to get back into it, dude. I'll fucking pry myself away on a Wednesday night, or we can go have a beer or something one of these
Yeah.
other nights. Or
I know of another place on Thursday nights that I've been meaning to check out. So
what's that?
West Side, I hear.
Oh, West Side. All right. So shout out to the Triangle and to the West Side. Got some jam nights Wednesday and
Wednesday at
Thursday.
the Try, and then Thursday, West Side, I hear there's a couple of guys that hosted that are real good musicians, and they turn it out. So
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, if nothing else, we'll get us a show and we'll do this again maybe in a few weeks or a month or so. And
yeah, that sounds fun.
we'll do it again. Hey, Ryan Johnston. Sorry.
Ryan
Again,
Johnson.
man. Thanks again for being on here, and good to see you.
Likewise.
Hope everything's doing good, and we'll keep in touch, man.
All right, same to you. Thanks,
All right.
Joe.
Yeah, talk to you later,
Bye.
bro.